This video is on Lesson 5, Saving and Investing. In this lesson, we'll talk about the best method of saving and some short and long-term investment possibilities. Pay yourself first is something that you hear a lot about when we're talking about saving and investing. In other words, put money into a savings account that is for your future. When you get paid, if you pay yourself first, the money will add up quickly. You'll be surprised at what will happen. For example, if you save $7 this week and you put it somewhere where it gets 5% interest, in 10 years, that $7 will be $4,720. And some other examples. If you save $35 a week at 5% in 10 years, you'll have $23,600. Paying yourself first can add up. It seems like it would be tough to save $7, but when you think about it, one fast food meal or less than one movie ticket and a candy bar can be $7 a week. If you do without just a little bit, you would be surprised at how much you can save. You need to ask yourself, what can you save? What can you give up to save for your financial goals? Some types of savings accounts are a passbook account. This is where the depositor receives a booklet in which deposits, withdrawals, and interest are recorded. Average interest rate is lower at banks and savings and loans than in credit unions. Funds are easily accessible. A statement account, which is basically the same thing as a passbook account, except the depositor receives monthly statements instead of a passbook, more often used today now than a passbook. Accounts are usually accessible through a 24-hour automated teller machine. Interest rates are the same and funds are easily accessible. Interest earning checking account is one that combines benefits of checking and savings. The depositor earns interest on any unused money in his or her account. A money market deposit account is a checking savings account. Interest rate is paid built on a complex structure that varies with size of balance and current level of market interest rates. You can access your money from an ATM, a teller, or from writing up to 3 checks a month. Some of the benefits of a money market account is that you get immediate access to your money. Some trade-offs, usually it requires a minimum balance of a $1,000 to $2,500, and you can write a limited number of checks each month. As I mentioned, 3 checks a month. The average yield through a money market account is higher than your regular savings account. Certificates of deposit. This is where a bank pays a fixed amount of interest on a fixed amount of money during a fixed amount of time. Let's say you get a CD for $2,000 for 6 months at a fixed interest of 2%. Which is probably about all you can get for CDs these days. The benefits are that they are no risk, they are pretty simple, there aren't any fees, and it does offer higher interest rate than savings account in some cases. You really have to shop around for the CDs. These days, CDs don't offer as high interest rates as you would think, and many times they are not any higher than the savings accounts. So trade-offs are that you are restricted access to your money for a period of time. If you need your money, you think you might need to get to it quickly, then you probably don't want to do a CD because it could cost you since there's a withdrawal penalty if cashed before the expiration date. You'll get more interest on a 5-year CD than you would a 1-year CD, but if you put it in there for 5 years, that means you shouldn't withdraw it for 5 years. If you do, the penalty will probably be greater than the interest ever would be unless it is towards the end of the 5 years. Some types of CDs are a rising rate CD with a higher rates at various intervals such as every 6 months. A stock indexed CD with earnings based on the stock market. A callable CD that has higher rates and long-term maturities as high as 10 and 15 years. However, the bank may call the account after a stipulated period, such as 1 or 2 years. Global CDs combine higher interest with a hedge on future changes in the dollar compared to other currencies. And promotional CDs attempt to attract savers with gifts on special rates. Simple and compound interest. We've already gone over how simple interest is calculated, and this is where you just have $100 in a savings account for 6% interest and for 1 year, which it would gain $6. At the end of 2 years, you'd gain $12. So you just double that, and it would continue to grow at that rate of 6 years. That's simple interest, which is just the amount times the interest rate times the length of time. If you use compound interest, you would get interest on the interest. Interest is paid on the original amount of the deposit plus any interest earned, and that is where the difference is, times the interest rate times the length of time. You had $100 that first year, and you'd multiply the 100 times the 6 times the 1 year, and you'd get the $6. But the next year, you would take 106, which is the principal plus the interest, and multiply it times 6 and times 1, and so the next year it would be $6.36. So you'd gain more interest and get more accumulated money in a compounded interest situation. When choosing a savings account, you should consider factors that determine dollar yield on account, such as the interest rate. Of course, 6% is going to get you more than 3%. The following factors reduce that money that you've earned from the interest, such as charges and penalties if you withdraw a CD earlier than normal. If you deposit money in a 5-year CD and you withdrew it in 4 years, you'd pay the penalty for that last year. Some require certain balances before they pay any interest, and most banks will pay different interest rates for different size balances. So you should shop around for your bank. And most calculate the balance daily, and some use an average daily balance. So you need to know when you're choosing your savings account which method they're going to use. It will make a difference. The Truth in Savings Law requires that financial institutions disclose information on savings accounts that they offer. They must disclose what the fees on the deposit account, what the interest rate is, any other terms and conditions, the annual percentage yield, which is the percentage rate expressing the total amount of interest that would be received on a $100 deposit based on the annual rate and frequency of compounding. The Truth in Savings defines that a 365-day on calculating interest, whereas some institutions may have used other numbers such as 360. We consider 365 an exact interest rate. But anyway, this law does eliminate confusion caused by all the 8 million variations of interest calculation methods. The rule of 72 means how many years will it take for me to double my money. So if you divide 72 divided by the interest rate, that gives you the years to double a sum of money. And then if you wanted to calculate at what interest rate your money would double in a set number of years, you would divide 72 into the years to double investment, and that would give you your interest rate required. This just helps you to determine how much to invest and how long it would take you to meet your goal, whatever your goal might be. So after determining your goal, you would then look at the rule of 72. End of this part 1 video. Please go on to part 2.